Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast. In today's episode, I sit down with Stefan Verhayden, Global Vice President of GX Biological Solutions and Syringes at Gerresheimer. Stefan leads the company's packaging and drug delivery services in the fast-growing Biopharma segment, focused on small to mid-sized biotechs. In this interview, he explains some of the challenges biopharma customers face, such as personalised medication, and talks about what's coming up for them in the year ahead. Stefan, thank you very much for joining us on the PharmaSource podcast today. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Luke. Pleasure to be here.
Likewise. Could you introduce yourself, please, to listeners and what your role is at Gerresheimer?
Absolutely. So my name's Stefan Verhayden. I've joined Gerresheimer approximately 6.5 years ago. I originally was hired as the global vice president for our syringe business, which I've then did for about 3 years. After 3 years, the board asked me to jump in and create a new, let's say, cross-divisional business unit that we call GX Biological Solutions, which is a unit that predominantly, let's say, works on the fast-growing biopharma market segment, and where we actually sell the complete portfolio to the industry. So I set up a team of technical experts, salespeople, etc., that have a link into the different business units of Gerresheimer, and that ultimately, as I said before, serve the biological industry. We predominantly focus there on what I would call small to mid-sized biotechs that are actually the future of the biopharma industry. What do I mean by that? Small to mid-sized biotech companies that develop molecules that then afterwards either go commercial through themselves or are being picked up by the bigger biopharma companies that then will bring them to commercial phases. So, and then again, now I'd say at the beginning of 2023, I was asked by the board to again pick up on the syringe sales. So I have a combined role now. I do the syringe portion and I do the biological solutions portion. Before that, I can tell you, I've been in the industry for about 30 years almost now. Started my career at Merck, then transitioned through a couple of companies. I've been very active in selling, say, chemistry into the industry, raw materials, APIs, etc. And then before transitioning into a role more into packaging side of things, 10 years ago, spent some time with other players in the industry, and then joined Gerresheimer.
Thank you. So I'm interested in what you were saying about going from small molecules into biologics. I'm just interested in hearing what are the main challenges when it comes to glass and plastic packaging to go into biologics? What are the particular issues which you've had to deal with in setting up this new department?
What we try to do within the biological solutions area is to make sure that we serve the customers throughout their complete value chain and drug lifecycle management. I think Gerresheimer is probably one of the only players in the industry globally that is actually able to serve a customer from what I'd call preclinical development work up to complete product lifecycle management. What do I mean by that? We can start with a very simple and straightforward vial, transition into a, let's say, more specialized vial, whether this is then bulk or RTF. We can transition that into a syringe configuration, also bulk or RTF, move that into a device, presumably even a wearable device, And even though we have many competitors in some of the aspects, we're probably the only one in the industry that can do it all under the same roof. And that is a big asset that we have. Now, answering your question, Luke, going more specifically on what are the challenges for the biopharma industry, I think we see a clear trend towards more specialized medication, personalized medication. And as well as I do, that today, probably 80 to 90% of the new drugs that come to market are biological. Yeah. And those people have slightly different challenges than what I would call the older standard medication that we used to have. And there are some specifics that come to play there, but also there Gerresheimer is well armed with a complete glass portfolio as well as a polymer portfolio to support many of the challenges that we have in that segment.
You mentioned wearables there. How is Gerresheimer thinking about those sorts of digital solutions to personalized healthcare?
Well, you need to know that within the Gerresheimer organization and predominantly in our advanced technologies business unit, we have wearable devices that are used in some chronic disease areas that also will be used more and more in the oncology treatment. those devices offer a lot of advantages, are linked to specific and I'd say digital therapy follow-up. And so that is also one of the trends that we see in the market. And it's something that is picking up faster and faster as we move into more, let's say, dedicated healthcare. And so I think also there, Gerresheimer is pretty well armed to do that.
Does it touch your area much when it comes to the types of packaging, the types of syringes which your division's producing?
If you now talk predominantly on the, let's say, wearable devices, where we come into play, next to, of course, our advanced technologies colleagues, is that we provide the cartridges that go into those devices, as an example. Now, if you talk more about the whole track and trace story, for instance, we are now developing methodologies to, let's say, make sure that all the primary packaging components that we produce can actually be submitted to track and trace systems. Which means that we, with all the production data, but then later on the fillers, the pharma companies can add on multiple data sets to that so that they can easily track the whole, let's say, packaging, drug, and final presentation to the market in the complete value chain. And this is also something that we're developing right now.
Great. Gerresheimer is quite publicly signed up to your sustainability targets, eco-design principles to reduce CO2 emissions 50% by 2030, I believe, and also switching your entire electricity supply to renewables by that same timeline.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear more about that and what does that mean to you and the type of actions which you're taking?
Well, we all know it's an extremely sensitive topic these days, yeah? And I think a couple of years ago, while sitting together with our board, we took the strategic decision to aim massively on this whole sustainability topic. Now, I can tell you, look, without going too much into details, there is a massive, let's say, strategy behind that, built on three main pillars, which I can provide you later on some more details on that, but it would take us too far away from the, let's say, overall aspect here. But the very clear message I want to give here is that today Gerresheimer is aiming very much on that. You see that immediately resulted in a great score that we have on the EcoVadis rating, for instance, where we really moved up the ladder tremendously. And what we do see is that the efforts that we put in there, whether it's come to renewable energy, CO2 emission reduction, and then also people and organization topics that we cluster under there, has led to the fact that our industry is pretty much responding to that in a very positive way as well. Because also for most of our, let's say, important customers, they also have that very high on their, let's say, scope. And therefore, the fact that we invested massively, because I can tell you, it's a massive investment for a company, yeah.
Sure.
Without, I'd say, limited or fairly limited direct impact on let's say the business, yeah. Nevertheless, we took the decision, and we are pretty much sure that over time this will bring us in an even better position than we are today.
Your clients must be responding positively to all of that investment.
Absolutely. And that's why I said in the beginning, it was a strategic decision. There was a lot of discussion around the topic because, when you talk about strategy, obviously it is about how do we grow, how do we get better, and then the whole sustainability topic is like something that comes on top, where at that time it was very difficult to measure the potential outcome of that. What would it bring to our business if we invest heavily in that? But now that we've taken that decision and that we've made multiple steps, you clearly see that the reception of the market is extremely positive.
Stefan, as you think about 2024, what are going to be your main focuses? Are there any particular products or services which you're really going to be focused on in the biologic space?
Obviously, we'll keep on focusing on our high-value products, as we always do. We will bring the EasyFill Smart to life, which is a co-developed packaging standardization that we've developed with some of our colleagues in the industry. Another very important pillar where we continue our growth path forward will be into the, let's say, obesity treatment, where the whole GLP-1 story that you hear about in the media every day, because we serve most of the predominant players in that industry, and we are in a pretty strong position that we actually want to reinforce even more. So those, in my view, are the two key pillars for us to continue our growth.
Thank you. Have you got any advice for potential customers if they're looking across the packaging landscape and considering who that they should work with?
I probably will not be the most objective person if you ask me that question. But nevertheless, what I think is important for our customers is they need to think carefully on let's say, who they choose as a partner. I can only tell them that Gerresheimer is well armed to serve them with a huge variety of products, but also services, which become more and more important next to the packaging. Other than that, I'd say that Gerresheimer is really making huge steps, and in that regard is a very trustful partner. I strongly believe in also personal interaction, and I think with the whole Gerresheimer team ready to support our customers, we are in a good position to do that. Nevertheless, I mean, I'm not the kind of person that says you need to go either there or there. I mean, I can tell you, we stand for high quality, good service, and let's say strong people interaction, personal interaction. And so I think Gerresheimer has a lot to offer there. As I said in the beginning, Luke, we have a very broad portfolio. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. For us, every customer is actually as unique as every project.
Stefan, thank you so much for your time.
With great, great pleasure.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Head to PharmaSource.global to sign up to the community, our weekly newsletter, and get invites to upcoming events. Thank you for listening.